Hi friends. In this video, I want to talk about law of attraction and manifestation techniques, especially for people who are in narcissistic abusive relationships. I want to talk about why these can be extremely dangerous and what you need to know about them in order to keep yourself safe. Number one, a lot of law of attraction techniques are all about affirming a different reality than the one that you were living in. And while this can be a helpful thing in certain situations where you're wanting to change your own behavior, in a narcissistic relationship, it is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. While these kinds of techniques can be helpful in other circumstances or maybe even later on in your healing process, right now you need to focus on recognizing and accepting your own reality. In narcissistic relationships, we are gaslit and psychologically abused out of our own realities. Our reality is constantly questioned, our experience is often invalidated. Usually when we come out of these relationships, we don't even know who we are anymore. Usually we feel like a completely crumpled up and torn apart version of ourselves and don't even know left from right, up from down, what is real anymore, even if we are real anymore. So sitting there affirming for a reality that you're fantasizing about is not going to help you heal. Usually what it's going to do is it's going to keep you stuck in an abusive dynamic and have you further gaslighting yourself and ignoring all sorts of abuse, and it's going to cause a lot more damage than you've already endured. So please stop it. These kinds of techniques are so dangerous because you have been trained to deny and doubt your own feelings, your own senses, your own reality. And affirming for something that you are not experiencing is going to further traumatize you and create even a deeper psychological split in your being, and that's going to take a lot longer to heal. You need to validate your own pain, your own perception, and your own experience before anything else. The second reason that a lot of law of attraction techniques can be dangerous for narcissistic abuse survivors is that it can cause a lot of guilt or fear for feeling what we're actually feeling and for recognizing our own experience for what it really is, for being honest about the abuse that we are enduring. So in law of attraction principles, they say, okay, well, if you perceive a certain thing, then it's going to continue. Okay, so if someone is being abused and they say, I'm being abused, law of attraction is going to say, well, if you say that, it's going to keep happening, and it's your fault if that keeps happening. Now, the crazy thing is that's exactly what narcissistic abuse does, right? It's like, it's your fault that the abuse is happening. So yeah, these techniques cause us to self-blame for our own reality, and that's the last thing that someone in a narcissistic abusive relationship needs to deal with, because they're already dealing with it. So don't double down on it. You don't need that in your life right now. On the other hand, being very honest with yourself about what you are enduring, what you are going through, the pain that you are in, the negativity that you're experiencing, the abuse that is happening in your life, that is what is going to bring you a lot of liberation, freedom, and confidence to actually do something to change the situation to get you out of it. Feeling afraid and guilty for recognizing the abuse that is occurring is not going to help you take action to move on to a better life. You have to look this right in the eye and name it for what it is. Don't feel bad about it, and don't believe anybody who tells you that because you are recognizing signs of abuse, that is what's creating the abuse in your life. It's not. The third reason these techniques can be really dangerous is that most of them are externally focused. So oftentimes, these L.O.A coaches say things like, oh yeah, on your specific person, which is, could be your narcissistic abuser. That's kind of what this video is about. This person loves me, this person appreciates me, this person comes around to me, they really honor me and trust me, and blah, 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 blah. Whatever the affirmations are that you are being told to say to yourself, they're probably not true. Like, if you're not seeing that from that person, they're not true. And a lot of L.O.A principles will have you believing that you are the reason why that person is behaving in a shitty way to you. And so if you're spending all this time focusing on the abusive person in your life, trying to tell yourself how great they are, how loving they are, I mean, you are doing the narcissist's work for them. You're doubling down on it. And that's the last thing that you need right now. Another problem with these externally focused affirmations is they take the attention off of yourself and your own experience. Usually when people are involved with a narcissist, there's already this disconnect from your own inner experience. Like, people who are very grounded in what they experience, what's going on, they don't fall for any bullshit or make excuses at all. Narcissists don't really tend to get in there very much. Most people who fall victim to narcissists tend to be externally focused, as far as being very compassionate and loving and giving and agreeable and wanting the other person to feel really good, to feel safe. There might be some, codependent things happening there. So yeah, instead of focusing on another person and what they're doing and trying to affirm for their behavior to change, because that's not going to do anything. Sorry to burst. Actually, I'm very happy to burst your bubble. It's going to save you a lot of time. You'll thank me later, I promise. Now, I'm not saying that all law of attraction or manifestation techniques are bad. I don't believe that at all. I think a lot of them are really helpful because a lot of, what happens in our life, our behaviors are dictated by our belief systems. And actually, you probably got into this narcissistic relationship because of some belief that you hold about yourself. What I do recommend, if you are working with any sort of law of attraction techniques, is to focus on your self-concept. Focus on those beliefs, because your self-concept is what is going to drive everything in your life, from the success of your relationships, your financial success, the success of your friendships, even your health. If you feel good about yourself, you are going to go for really good things, and you are not going to tolerate things or people that are abusive or make you feel terrible. As you know, if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, they attack your self-concept. That's how they get in. That's how the abuse happens. They say really negative things about you to you. They destroy your self-esteem over time with repetition. And they use that repetition to crush your spirit and destroy your self-concept. So using law of attraction techniques that restore your self-concept and your spirit and your self-esteem is extremely effective. Another reason that it's very important to work on your self-concept is that a poor self-concept is what attracted you to a narcissistic person in the first place, and is what attracted them to you. So if someone doesn't feel that great about themselves, or that confident, or they're super worthy of a very healthy love and respect and good treatment, that person is going to tolerate a lot of crap. And a narcissistic person can sniff that out a mile away and know that that person will tolerate their abuse and their control dynamics. People like that with a self-concept that, doesn't feel worthy of respect and proper love are, we're very easy to control when we feel that way about ourselves. And oftentimes those beliefs, were formed in childhood or at a very vulnerable, pivotal stage in our life when we weren't treated well, or when somebody else was really nasty to us, and we took that on as, feeling like, well, we deserved that kind of treatment, or we deserved that kind of punishment, or if we were a better kind of person, or not broken or worthy, then we would have received good love, you know? So usually, if we're not treated well during a time in our lives, that can implement a self concept that we aren't worthy of proper love, care, and respect. And once that is ingrained and internalized into the system, then it's much easier for a person with those kinds of beliefs to tolerate more abuse because, you believe you deserve it. And a narcissistic person is going to look at someone like that as easy prey. I think about those videos where there's a glass of water and it's full of mud, and which, could symbolize a really bad self-concept full of really negative beliefs about yourself. And they start pouring clear water into it. And it takes a while, but after a while, the water starts to lighten and it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And the more clear water goes into it, all of that muddy water overflows out of the top. And over time, the glass of water is only full of clear water, and there's no signs of mud particles in it anymore. This is what happens when we repeatedly and consistently practice self-concept affirmations. Repetition is incredibly important. Again, in these kinds of relationships, the narcissist has repeatedly, over and over again, ground into these really negative things about yourself that you, over time, do internalize and take on as your own belief system. So that came in through repetition. It's going to leave through repetition. And the best way to get those out of your system is to fill yourself with clear and beautiful, good beliefs about yourself. You must repeatedly install positive beliefs about yourselves in order to push out the narcissist toxic programming. These affirmations can be really simple. They're things like, I am lovable, I am worthy of respect, I am worthy of a loving and healthy and secure relationship. I'm a good person, I care about people, I am intelligent, I'm smart, I have a good heart, I deserve to be treated with kindness, I am kind, I am genuine, I am worthy of safety and happiness. And I know they're so basic, and obviously everybody should believe this about themselves. And that's the messed up thing about narcissistic abuse, is that it robs us of basic human decency towards ourselves. So restoring that is the most crucial thing that you can do in your healing process. There's many ways to do that. Like, some people like to look at themselves in the mirror and say these things, write them on sticky notes. I really liked listening to affirmations while I slept that would go into my subconscious mind. Sometimes in the morning, I could literally feel the crappy things that these people used to say to me just fall off of me. It's quite the experience. I will be making meditations around this at some point in the future, so stay tuned for those. But yeah, all in all, if you are working with law of attraction and manifestation techniques, please do not do any of that stuff that is having you affirm for a different reality, anything that's having you affirm for a person treating you better than they are, anything that is trying to get you to change your perception of the outside world. That is going to cause so much further harm to you and your psyche. It'll take you so much longer to heal. Trust me, I tried it. It was a big mistake. Focus on yourself. That's what works. Focus on changing whatever it is that the narcissist in your life got you to believe about yourself. And I promise you, it'll help immensely. It'll help you heal. And once you understand who you are and you feel so much better about yourself, you won't tolerate that kind of bullshit from that person or from anybody else trying to run the same game on you in the future. One final thing I'll say about this practice is, when you are doing these self-concept affirmations, pay attention to the ones that feel really uncomfortable for you. If one of these beliefs feels really uncomfortable in your body when you say it to yourself, like for example, I'm worthy of happiness. If you say that and you feel uncomfortable in your body, that's probably a sign that your subconscious mind is rejecting that belief, which means that you have a belief in there that you're not worthy of happiness. So continue to install it by repetition. It will start to feel more familiar and comfortable, and at some point you will adopt that new belief and it'll just naturally push out the old ones. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Feel free to drop any comments or any questions. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.